I pulled into the driveway after 5 straight hours on the road, and right away, I knew something was wrong. The house looked naked, blinds gone, furniture gone, even the goddamn mailbox was missing. I sat there in my truck for a second, engine ticking as it cooled down, just staring. There was a "for sale" sign hammered into the front yard like a middle finger. 3 black garbage bags slumped on the porch steps, like leftovers from a yard sale nobody wanted. That was my house. I'd signed for it 17 years ago. Paid the mortgage, cut the grass, fixed every broken pipe and creaky step. I got out slow, boots crunching across the gravel. My key didn't work. I tried again. Still locked. I banged on the door. Nothing. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. I walked around the side, looked in through the windows. Bare walls, empty floors. The air inside looked stale, like the place had been dead for days. I pulled out my phone and called my sister, Linda. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "You talked to Melissa lately?" Yeah," she said. "She moved out last week." "What?" I froze right there by the porch railing. "What the hell are you talking about?" "She didn't tell you?" Linda sounded nervous. "I figured you knew. I thought you were splitting up." "Nobody told me jack," I said. My hands were shaking. I hung up and dialed Melissa. She picked up like I was a telemarketer. "Yeah? It's me. What the hell is going on?" "We moved," she said flatly. "You're a grown man. Handle your business." Then she hung up. I stood there with the phone still to my ear, staring at that empty porch like maybe the garbage bags were gonna talk. The guy across the street was watching from his lawn, arms crossed, eyes squinting like I was some junkie scoping the place out. The motel smelled like old fries and bleach, the kind of place with a flickering vacancy sign and a clerk who barely looked up when I slid my card across the counter. Room key was sticky. The carpet had crusted over stains I didn't want to guess about. I dropped the bags on the bed and just stood there for a minute, staring at the floral comforter like maybe it had answers. Then I unzipped the first bag, 3 faded work shirts, a pair of sneakers with worn-out soles, 1 flannel jacket, a Ziploc of loose screws for some reason, and a photo, me, Melissa, and Jake at the county fair 6 years ago. Frame cracked down the middle. Melissa had her hand on my chest in that one. Jake was mid-eye roll. I set the picture on the nightstand. 17 years I sent money home. Didn't matter how broke I was, I made sure the bills were paid. I'd worked every damn holiday for overtime. If the fridge broke, I fixed it. If Jake screwed up, I was the one who bailed him out. Even when he lied about where the money went. She never gave up on him, not once. Me? I kept my mouth shut. Kept the peace. Did what needed doing. And now I'm in a roach motel with my life shoved in garbage bags like yard clippings. I didn't cry. I sat down on the edge of the bed, elbows on my knees, and stared at the wall like it had answers. Then I pulled out my phone and called Mason. "Hey," I said, voice low. "I need a place for a few days." "Where are you?" he asked. "Some dump off the freeway. Place with a bullet hole in the vending machine." He didn't even pause. "Screw that. Pack your shit. Come stay with me. You're not sleeping in that roach motel again." I looked around the room, water stain above the TV, remote missing batteries. I could already feel something crawling near my sock. "You sure?" I asked. "You serious?" "Of course I'm sure." "Just get over here." I grabbed the bags, stuffed everything back in like I was late for a fire, and got the hell out of there. I didn't even bother checking out. Just dropped the key on the counter and walked out. Driving to Mason's, I kept thinking how quiet it felt. Like I'd been unplugged from everything. No more routines, no dinner at 6, no bills waiting on the kitchen table. Just me and a dashboard light blinking low fuel. I pulled up to Mason's place around midnight. He was already outside, leaning on the porch railing in a ratty hoodie, holding 2 beers. "Damn," he said when he saw me. "You look like hell." "Feel worse." He handed me a beer. "Come inside. We'll figure it out tomorrow." I followed him in, past the screen door with a tear in it, into the house that smelled like old tools, takeout, and something burning in the back room. "You got a bed?" I asked. "Guest room, clean sheets, no bullet holes." He smirked. I set my bags down by the door. That's all I had. 1 bag in each hand, 17 years gone, just like that. Mason clapped me on the shoulder. You're here now. That's what matters. I didn't say anything. Just picked up my bags and followed him down the hallway. The guest room was small but clean, smelled like laundry and motor oil. Bed was firm, window stuck halfway open. First few nights I barely slept, kept waking up expecting to hear Melissa's voice, or Jake slamming the fridge. But nothing came. Just the hum of Mason's old fridge and the clink of his tools out back. He had a shop behind the house, nothing fancy, tin roof, beat-up radio always playing classic rock, and shelves packed with coffee cans full of screws, bolts, and random crap. The whole place smelled like oil, old wood, and burnt coffee. On the third morning, I walked out back, still groggy, and found him talking to another guy. Shaved head, camo jacket, deep voice. "Hey," Mason said, nodding toward me. "This is Dave. Runs a roofing outfit up in Canton." Dave looked me over once and said, "You looking for work?" I shrugged. "Not sure yet. Don't know what I'm doing next." "You know how to talk on the phone?" "Sure." "Know how to write on paper and not sound like a moron?" I laughed. "Yeah, I think I can manage." "Then you can handle scheduling. Show up at my shop tomorrow, 9 o'clock. You're hired." "Just like that?" Dave shrugged. "You're a grown man who shows up. That's more than I get from half these kids." So I showed up, every day. Sat in a folding chair in a dusty little office with a fan that rattled louder than a lawnmower, answered phones, took down addresses, called back cranky customers who said their shingles were sliding off like melted cheese. It wasn't glamorous, but it was something. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel like trash. During breaks, I started digging into tenant laws. One night, Mason caught me reading some post about a guy who got booted out by his girlfriend while he was at work. Guy lost everything, tools, truck, even his dog. "Why you reading that depressing crap?" Mason asked. "Because I've lived it," I said, "and I want to know how it's even legal." "It ain't," he said, lighting a cigarette. "People just get away with it." That stuck with me. I started printing out articles, reading posts, highlighting parts like I was back in high school. Learned about forced evictions, common law marriage, property rights, all that messy gray area stuff most guys never think about until it's too late. I remembered standing in front of my own house like a damn fool. Key not working, trash bags full of my life on the porch. The more I read, the more pissed off I got. But it wasn't just anger anymore. It was fuel. Mason walked in one evening, caught me scribbling on a legal pad. "What's that?" "An idea," I said. He raised an eyebrow. "You gonna sue somebody?" "No, I'm thinking maybe I can do something for guys like me. Guys who get tossed out with no warning and no clue what to do next." Mason leaned against the fridge, arms crossed. "You serious?" "Yeah, I couldn't stop what happened to me, but maybe I can help someone else not get blindsided." He didn't say anything right away, just nodded once and grabbed a beer. I didn't know what it would look like yet. I wasn't a lawyer, I wasn't rich, but I knew what rock bottom felt like, and I knew I wasn't the only one standing on it. The fight wasn't with Melissa anymore. It was bigger than that. I pulled out my phone and started typing out a list of what I'd need. A meeting space, some flyers, a name, and one person who believed I wasn't crazy. I pitched the idea over a folding table, right there in Mason's kitchen, with papers spread out between coffee rings and an ashtray full of cigarette butts. "I'm thinking we start something," I said. "A local nonprofit. Just basic help for guys who got nowhere to go, nowhere to land after getting kicked out or left behind. Nothing fancy. Info, resources, maybe a place to crash if things get bad." Dave raised both eyebrows. "You serious? You just got screwed and now you want to help other guys?" "Yeah," I said, "because I know how it feels to get knocked flat and have nobody pick up the damn phone." Mason leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "What would we call it?" "Ground floor," I said, "because that's where most of us are starting again." They were quiet for a second. Then Dave said, "You're gonna need some space. You're not cramming lost dudes into my office next to shingles and ladders." Mason smirked. "We can use the back of the shop. I've been meaning to clean it out anyway." We spent 2 days clearing the junk out. Old motors, busted shelves, a dead shop vac. We found an old couch, 2 card tables, and a mini fridge that still worked if you kicked it twice. That was our office. We filed the paperwork with the state. It was ugly and confusing, but Dave's sister worked in accounting and helped us figure it out. I built a Facebook page, uploaded a photo of the garage door with a poster taped to it that read, "Need help. Start at the ground floor." We posted in local groups, divorce support, job boards, anything that sounded like rock bottom. Within 2 days, we had 15 messages. One guy said his ex threw him out with nothing but a duffel bag. Another said he was living in his truck behind a CVS. A vet emailed us asking if we had anything that could help with legal aid. I sat on a folding chair reading those messages, jaw tight. "Damn," I muttered. "It's like I opened a floodgate." Dave came in with 2 coffees. "You wanted real stories? You got 'em." We started small, printed out basic info sheets about renters' rights, local shelters, and how to file a police report when your stuff gets dumped. We made checklists for what to do if you're forced out. Called around to find short-term stays that didn't smell like meth. One guy came in after work, still in his delivery uniform. Said his wife locked him out while he was dropping off pizzas. She let the landlord change the locks and told him to go to hell. He sat on our ratty couch, eyes hollow. "I didn't even get my boots," he said. "These are my work shoes." We helped him find a motel with weekly rates and walked him through writing a formal request for his stuff back. It wasn't a miracle, but it was something. Then we started naming names. When landlords pulled shady crap, changing locks without notice, tossing guys out without due process, we posted screenshots and summaries. No threats, just facts. It pissed a few people off. One guy showed up screaming in the parking lot. Dave told him to leave before he got introduced to a wrench. People started talking. Some sent pizza or gas cards. Others just emailed to say thank you. I printed out every single one and thumbtacked them to a corkboard we hung on the back wall. Then came the call that changed everything. I was standing outside, drinking a gas station coffee, when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. "Hi, is this the ground floor guy? My name's Erica Jensen. I'm a reporter for Channel 12. I saw your group online. Would you be open to a quick interview?" I nearly dropped my cup. We set it up for the following Thursday. Erica showed up with a camera guy and a notebook. She asked sharp questions: what we did, why we started, what kind of guys we saw come through. I said, "Most people think these guys are screw-ups." But that's not the truth. Some of them were married 10, 15 years, hard workers, dads. They didn't fall apart. They got pushed. That night, the story aired during the 6 o'clock news. It wasn't even 5 minutes long, but the next morning we had 50 new messages. It wasn't just guys asking for help anymore. It was people asking how they could give it. That was the moment I knew this thing had legs. By the end of that week, my phone didn't stop ringing. We had calls from guys all over the state. Veterans sleeping in their cars, dads locked out of apartments they paid for, older men who hadn't seen their kids in months because of some court technicality or bitter ex. Some were just lonely. Others were angry, desperate, or flat out numb. I took every call I could, set up a calendar, made spreadsheets. Dave joked I was becoming Google for broken men. Then the voicemails changed. They started coming from them. My wife, Jake, her sister. At first, it was short. "Why aren't you calling us back?" Then it shifted. "We heard about the news thing. That's good, but you should call. We're still family one." Voicemail hit different. It was Melissa's voice, sharp and smug, like always. "Be a man and talk to us." I nearly chucked the phone across the room. Now they wanted to talk? Now that I was making something of myself? Where the hell were they when they were boxing up my life like expired groceries? I didn't respond. Not once. I let every voicemail go straight to archive. Mason heard one of them by accident while we were driving. Phone hooked to the truck speakers. Melissa's voice blared out, mid-message. He reached over and clicked it off. "You want me to block that number for you?" "Nah," I said. "I'll handle it." Next day, I walked into a cell store, told the kid behind the counter I needed a new number. Said mine was contaminated. He laughed. I didn't. I walked out with a fresh number, fresh voicemail, fresh start. Everything after that went into ground floor. We printed more materials, started meeting with local churches and VFW halls to spread the word. I trained 2 volunteers, retired guys, both divorced, both still paying alimony. They knew the drill. We set up a Sunday night drop-in group. First week, 6 guys showed. Next week, 12. Week after that, we had to pull out more chairs. I kept the same beat every time. No judgment, no preaching. Just, here's how to protect yourself. Here's who to call. You're not alone, and you're not crazy. I didn't talk about Melissa, not once. Didn't need to. I was leaving the ground floor shop when my phone buzzed. Unknown number again. I almost let it ring out, but something made me answer. Yeah? Hey, it's Rick. Rick Ellison. Used to live across the street from you. Rick? Damn, man. What's up? Well, he said, clearing his throat, I figured I should call. Somebody broke into the house. Cops came by this morning. I laughed. What, they steal dust? There's nothing left in there. I know. But your ex told the cops she thought maybe it was you coming back for something. I let out a hard breath. I wouldn't piss on that place if it was on fire. Yeah, that's what I figured, Rick said. But, there's something else. They found an envelope with your name on it. Said it came from a law office in Arizona. Melissa left it sitting on the kitchen counter when they moved out. I guess it got buried under some junk. I stopped walking. What kind of envelope? No clue. Legal looking, thick, had your full name on the front from some firm called, Sanders and something. I got it here. I gave him Mason's address and told him to drop it in the mailbox if he had time. He showed up 20 minutes later in a rusty Tacoma, handed me the envelope through the window like it was radioactive. I took it inside and opened it at the kitchen table. Inside was a typed letter from Sanders and Morgan, an estate firm out of Maricopa County. Apparently my Uncle Ray, the one I hadn't seen since I was 20, had died the year before. Never married, no kids, just a bunch of land he held onto since the 80s. A development company had bought the whole stretch for a solar project. My cut, after taxes and fees, $312,000. I read the number twice, thought it was a typo. Then I saw the date on the letter. It had been mailed 9 months ago. 9 months. Right there, in black ink. Initial disbursement pending confirmation of current address. Please respond by certified mail or phone, and suddenly it clicked. They knew. Melissa, her sister, Jake, all of them. They knew about this before they dumped my life on the porch, before the garbage bags, before the locked door and the smug phone call. They knew, and they never said a word. I sat back in the chair, fists clenched on the edge of the table. My whole body felt hot, like my bones were burning from the inside out. Mason walked in mid-silence, holding a beer. What's that? Letter from a lawyer, I said. Bad? No, the opposite. It's money. A lot of it. He leaned in. How much are we talking? 300 grand? He whistled. Shit, I nodded. And the kicker? It got sent to my old address. 9 months ago. They had it, sat on it, pretended like it never came. He didn't say anything, just shook his head and slid the beer across the table. I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about every little smirk Melissa gave me when we were fighting over bills, or the time Jake asked if I was going to be okay living in a trailer. Now I understood where all that smugness came from. They had the golden ticket the whole damn time, and instead of telling me, they left me stranded so they could sit back and hope I'd disappear. I didn't scream, didn't call them. I made one phone call to the number at the bottom of the letter. Mr. Carson? A woman said. We've been waiting to hear from you. You're still within the window to claim your share. Do you have a mailing address? Yeah, I said with a tight smile. I do now. I gave her Mason's, hung up. Then I opened my laptop and started searching for a trust attorney. If they wanted the money so damn bad, they were going to have to watch me put it somewhere they'd never touch. I stood in front of a half circle of polished shoes, crossed arms, and notepads. The Barrett Foundation's main conference room had that sterile, overfunded look. Shiny floors, big glass windows, bottled water labels facing out like a magazine chute. The screen behind me read, Ground Floor, Recovery Through Stability. I'd practiced this pitch every night for 2 weeks, sometimes pacing the damn hallway till Mason told me to shut up or start a podcast. We don't offer handouts, I was saying. We offer steps, the first ones. Because when a man gets knocked down and everyone's turned their back on him, the ground is all he's got. That's where we meet him. I had just clicked to the next slide, testimonials, stats, our impact report, when the program director leaned over my shoulder and whispered, Sorry to interrupt. Your family is here. They're saying it's urgent. I didn't even flinch. I kept my eyes on the board and said, "They can wait." He blinked, nodded, and stepped back. I finished the pitch. Hit every stat. Took every question. Handled the one board member who asked if we were accidentally enabling laziness with calm, cold facts. By the end, 3 of them were nodding before I even finished my final sentence. When I stepped down, Dave was waiting near the door, arms folded. He clapped me on the back so hard I nearly dropped my notes. "Damn right," he said. "You nailed that." We ended up at a booth in a diner 2 blocks from the foundation building. Red vinyl seats, greasy menus, a waitress with a name tag that said Bev, and an expression like she'd seen it all. I slid into the booth across from them. Melissa sat on one side, arms folded. Jake sat next to her, jittery. Tanya grabbed the chair at the end, like she wasn't sure if she wanted to commit to the table. Nobody touched the menus. Melissa spoke first. "We made a mistake. We want to fix things." I stirred my coffee, didn't look up. "You knew about the land, didn't you?" Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Then she blinked and looked away. "We thought," she started, voice low, "maybe it should go to the family." I leaned back and laughed once, sharp. "Family? You threw my life in garbage bags." Jake leaned forward, elbows on the table. "Look, man, I'm trying to get clean. I'm taking night classes now. Welding. I'm trying to do better." I looked him straight in the eye. "Good. Keep doing better. But I'm not your safety net anymore." He flinched, jaw tight, then nodded. "Fair." Melissa tried to regroup. I didn't know what else to do. Things were falling apart, and we thought, maybe if we could figure things out first, then come back to you with a plan. "No," I said. "Don't spin it. You didn't want a plan. You wanted control. You wanted me out of the way." Tanya cleared her throat. "We didn't mean for it to go that far. You left me. With nothing, no warning, no keys, no explanation, just trash bags and silence. And now you want to fix things?" I set the coffee down hard. "You lost that right." Melissa's eyes were glassy. "You're angry. I get it. You don't. You think this is about the money?" I pointed at my chest. "This is about respect. About 17 years of showing up and getting tossed like junk mail. You don't get to walk back in because things are going well now." Jake opened his mouth again, but I raised a hand. "I'm done. You can talk to the wall." Bev came by, holding a pot of coffee. "Refill?" "No thanks," I said. I pulled a 20 from my wallet and slid it onto the table. That should cover it. Melissa reached out like she was going to stop me. "Please, can't we just—" I stood up. "You don't get to ask anymore." Then I turned and walked. No yelling, no scene, just boots on linoleum and the sound of the door swinging shut behind me. The sun was low outside. I felt the heat hit my face as soon as I stepped off the curb. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I owed anybody a damn thing. The next morning, the Barrett Foundation called. Full grant awarded. $250 grand over 2 years, plus another $40,000 in operating costs. Dave whooped so loud I thought he'd pull something. Mason just nodded, lit a smoke, and said, "Told you." A week later, we signed the lease on a 2-story space downtown. Brick walls, busted radiator, creaky floors. But it was ours. Big enough for 3 case managers, 2 desks I picked up from a school auction, and a drop-in center with real chairs that didn't fold. I moved the inheritance into a trust. Met with an attorney, locked it down airtight. No names on it but mine. Ground floor became my full-time job. I quit Dave's office, kept the hoodie. Within a month, we had our own phone line, website, even a college intern helping with intake. My name started showing up in the local papers. Not huge spreads, just blurbs, quotes, the occasional photo of me standing next to a whiteboard. I even got invited to speak at a city council meeting. Wrote the speech on a napkin in the truck. Nailed it. Melissa never called again. Jake didn't either. A couple of cousins reached out with guilt trips. Family's family, that sort of thing. I blocked every number. I didn't explain. Didn't know anyone that. When people ask why I started Ground Floor, I keep it simple. I tell them I've been through some things, built something from it. That's enough. We help over 40 men a month now. Some show up with just a backpack, some with nothing but the clothes they're wearing and a hard look in their eye. Some are too proud to talk. Some can't stop talking. We help them anyway. I tell every single one of them the same thing. Quiet, direct, eye to eye. You're not broken. You're just starting over. And every night, when I lock up the office, I pause at the front steps. The streetlight throws a long shadow. The front door clicks behind me. And I remember that man standing outside his own house, staring at a locked door, holding 2 garbage bags full of the life he used to have. That man was stunned, humiliated, lost. That man's gone now, and he's never coming back.